Hi everyone. In my last video, which was yesterday, I was just basically trying to convey how my brain process worked and how I reacted when I'd had a bit of a stressful morning, just in case it would help as a bit of an insight for anyone, for someone with ADHD and autism, how they might react given an unexpected situation. So if you haven't seen that and you're interested, check it out. But otherwise, in this video, I'm going to talk about zoning out, in reference, of course, to ADHD behaviours. And tomorrow is when I'll make a start, finally, on autism. Okay. Before I get into it, if you like content, want to see more, follow, leave a like, comment, questions in the comments, requests in the comments, subscribe, repost, so on and so forth. You know the drill. Let's go to it. Get to it. Right. So now, people with ADHD, it's very common to zone out in conversations or movies, or perhaps you might lose attention when reading something and have to reread the text. Now, for me, I'm a book lover. I absolutely adore everything about books. I adore words in general. Writing them, typing them, reading them, of course. Basically, in any form, I will just read. Even if it's just words on a wall, I can't help it. My eyes drawn that way. But even so, even though that's an intense interest of mine, there have been many situations when I've been reading something and it's almost like a switch. Something happens and part of your brain just switches off. Now, it's completely involuntary. I've met many people who have been under the impression that that part of ADHD or people with ADHD tend to be quite rude or ignorant, but that's not what it is. It is genuinely involuntary and it's not like we mean to do it. So it's all subconscious. It just happens. And it's all to do with the brain and how it processes information. So, but even so, it's like I was saying, I'll read something and even then something will happen, the switch will go off. It's like I've lost a couple seconds of time and it's like everything I just took in isn't there anymore. And I'll have to reread what I've just read. And there's been times when it's become quite frustrating because I can read a huge book in a day, easy, a couple hours even. But there have been times when it's taken me ages just to get past a page or two because of the information I'm trying to process. Sometimes I end up giving up on that and continuing on with the story instead, which means I may miss something out. But like I said, it's involuntary. It's not my fault. So, and it's not tied to your interests, whether or not you're really interested in something or you find it boring, because like I said, I love books, but it still happens. I also love movies, but there are times when I will just switch off in a movie. I used to think it was just because your brain is really, really relaxed. And when you get really relaxed, things kind of just drift away, almost like you're entering some sort of sleep mode or dream state. But, and I used to complain about it and be like, why can't it happen when I actually want to go to sleep and not during a movie? But no, it is more in depth, again, to do with the brain, which I will explain in a second. And in conversations, that's usually where the whole people with ADHD are rude thing comes from, because yes, you can understand it'd be frustrating if you're having a conversation with someone and the person you're talking to, they clearly zone out or they don't hear what you're saying, and it can be very upsetting. But it can be upsetting for both parties, especially that person has ADHD, because they genuinely don't mean to do it, and it can make them feel bad. I feel bad whenever I do it. And there are times when I will have to tell, like, who I'm talking to, my brother's friends, parents, like, sorry, what did you say? I didn't catch that, I'm sorry. Sometimes as a default, just because I got used to people thinking I'm rude and I didn't want them to, I would lie and go, oh yeah, no, I heard what you say. And then I'd be hoping, please don't ask me to repeat it to you, just don't do it. And if they did, of course, I'd be caught out and that would cause all sorts of other issues. But, like I was saying, so it has to do again with executive function. I've mentioned executive function multiple times in some of these videos, because that's part of the brain that kind of helps with the information and the attention. And there are issues with that when you have someone with ADHD. Basically, your brain just doesn't regulate information the way a neurotypical brain would. It has difficulties with it. But there's also this thing called the default mode, right? Yeah. Default mode network, I believe, DMN. I believe I got that correct. And essentially, this part, that part of the brain activates when a person isn't focused on something to do with the outside world, okay? So perhaps an activity has something to do with right then there's something to do with them in that situation, not things going on around them. So, and that's the only time it activates. But in a person with ADHD, that may activate more, yeah? And that can make it then difficult to kind of switch or regulate like attentions between different things that are going on. And there we are, that's just one of them. But like I said, it all has to do with the brain, executive function, DMN. And like I said, as a person, it'll just make it really frustrating when you can't keep your attention on something, when you zone out. There were times in school I would zone out for minutes, not just like seconds, but minutes. And once I remember a teacher was waving her hand from my face because she'd been asking me a question I hadn't even known she was talking. And I looked at the clock and I was like, I swear that hand's moved. And it was a bit strange. But there we are. Of course, there are ways of addressing this, of managing it, as usual. One way, in fact, is fidgeting or doodling. Now, lots of times when I doodled or fidgeted in school, people would accuse me, especially teachers, again, of not paying attention, of distracting myself, procrastinating, being bored, that kind of thing. And I used to struggle trying to explain to them, no, I was actually paying attention. I was taking everything in. There's something about, I suppose, the motion of the body when you're fidgeting, when you're doodling. It's hard to explain because it seems like something that would be drawing attention away from the main thing that someone with ADHD should be paying attention to. But it's not. It's actually kind of just giving you, I suppose, a sort of outlet for the hyperactivity sorts of things. It's like something to do, something that keeps your attention, but keeps your attention in everything that's going on around you at the same time. So, and it's very, very strange. I used to write lists, I used to doodle, I used to fidget, and as people started to find that frustrating, I used to try and find subtler ways of doing it when I wouldn't get caught. But yeah, it's just, if you're someone with ADHD, don't feel bad, you know, if you fidget or stuff when you're trying to pay attention, because you know it's just you trying to pay closer attention, not trying to distract yourself. And if you're someone who's seen that and thought or been under the assumption someone with ADHD is purposely not paying attention, that's not what it is. Like I said, it's just a strange form, I suppose, of paying better attention. But also, like most of the time when someone zones out, when the brain that is struggling to process information for neurotypical people comes down to like sleep deprivation or stress, better sleep, exercise, and such things, basically self-care, can also help improve your attention capabilities or reduce how much you zone out if you're someone with ADHD. And it's funny because, like I said in some previous videos, sleep can be really difficult if you have ADHD or autism. But I also mentioned another video, there's weighted blankets as one solution, and there are others. So you just gotta go and look for those. So, yeah, and it's just one of those things, you know, you can't help it. You gotta remember that. You can't help it. And if you're someone who knows someone with ADHD, you gotta remember they can't help it if they zone out when you're talking to them. And don't feel afraid as well, just to turn around to a friend or to the other person and get used to going, oh, sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you say it again? Very politely, you know, and hopefully they will take that on board and be like, oh yeah, no problem. And address you the same way with the same level of politeness and courtesy. Anyway, I think that's it for this video. So, because I have lots of stuff I need to do today, including band practice. Hopefully I'll get another video out, maybe a singing one. But if you like the content, like I said, follow, leave a like, comments, questions in the comments, requests as well, repost, subscribe, blah-de-da-de-da, so on and so forth. And I will see you tomorrow with a new video where I will be making a start, finally, on autism. So if you're interested, I'll see you then. Bye.